Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy Kai, and we back on the Raw Report. And we have Stephen A. Smith speaking on the whole Shannon Sharpe situation, this big crazy lawsuit. And right now, there's a big debate. Should Shannon Sharpe lose his job, right? You know, as we all know, Shannon Sharpe is in a lot of controversy right now. He's been hit with a $50 million lawsuit, been exposed by this young chick, right? Allegedly a OF chick. And apparently she's got Shannon Sharpe on camera doing all kind of crazy stuff. And before we get into Shannon Sharpe's reaction, let me know what y'all think in the comments. You know, what y'all think about the Shannon Sharpe situation. You know, I think for the kind of fan base Shannon Sharpe would have, you know, you don't need the squeaky clean, you don't need a squeaky clean persona to be a sports commentator, right? But, you know, depending on if they drop Shannon Sharpe, we're going to find out pretty soon, you know, if we're still in this cancel culture, meaning that if you have any kind of controversy, you know, you got any bad press, negative headlines, you know, all of your advertisers are going to drop you. You know what I mean? You're going to lose all kind of money, business opportunities, right? And I don't think Shannon really did anything wrong. I don't think he's done anything illegal, sleeping with this girl or consensually engaging in fetishes and stuff like that, right? But, you know, some people are going to take offense to the age gap. The crazy thing is people don't really go this hard when it's a 40-year-old girl with a 20-year-old guy. That's pretty much the same dynamic we got going on here. So Stephen A. is kind of 50-50 on this whole situation. He want to rock with Shannon Sharpe, but he doesn't want to say the wrong thing and, you know, be wrong and go down with Shannon Sharpe. So check out a little bit of what he had to say.
In my perfect world, this equates to Jay-Z, where the case ultimately dropped and Shannon is allowed to continue on First Take and continue to thrive and shine. And not just that, and have an illustrious career in the podcast stratosphere, doing Nightcap with Chad Ochocinco, doing Club Shay Shay, and ultimately gets this $100 million deal that he was all over the news about to sign just a couple of days before this report came out. In my perfect world, he moves on. And somehow, some way, we find this all to be false. But it doesn't seem like that's...
And some people want Shannon to, you know, disown or disassociate with Shannon Sharpe completely. This one guy says, as big as a brand Stephen A. Smith is, I don't know how you continue with Shannon Sharpe, innocent or not. Old man effing around with a girl barely out of high school at his age is what's really got me stuck here, right? So the dude has a problem with the age gap dating. You know, it's not illegal. 18 is the age of adult. In some states, it's even younger when we're talking about age of consent, right? And another user is disappointed in both of them, saying Stephen A. is a sensationalist and Shannon Sharpe is a sexual deviant. Terrible time for American sports commentary. Another person was not satisfied with Stephen A.'s answer, saying Stephen A. speaking on the Shannon Sharpe situation is exactly why your co-workers are not your friends, period. Why are you even speaking on it if you don't know anything? Talking about he talked to the bosses and stuff, bruh. When you listen to Stephen A.'s long response, it's kind of like saying, I want to rock with you, but I'm not sticking my neck out for you. You know what I mean? I'm not going out on the limb and losing my $1 million deals to try to save Shannon Sharpe. Y'all let me know what y'all think. You know, is Stephen A. a snake for not all the way supporting Shannon Sharpe? You know, he's kind of dancing around, kind of supporting him, kind of saying, you know, it is what it is kind of attitude, right? And then there's the discussion of the age gap dating, right? A lot of people suggest that Shannon Sharpe should be married at this age. You know, Shannon Sharpe is someone who prides himself with being able to, you know, attract younger women, keep up with, you know, women in their 20s and things of that nature. And Charlamagne the God says, you know, this wouldn't happen if he was married and settled down and not really chasing these OF chicks and trying to keep up with the young chicks.
This is a very, very messy situation. I don't know what's true and what's not true, but I have no idea why a 54-year-old man is dating a 19, 20-year-old. I know y'all like to be out here bragging about smashing these young things, but that's not a flex to me. You 54 years old, you should be laid up with your wife and kids, taking your cholesterol medicine, minding your damn business.
Let me know what y'all think. I do think there is a big chance that he will be fired from ESPN, in my opinion, because it's been a lot of stuff that's came out to make him look like some kind of a sexual deviant. It is a lot of bad press and whatnot. But, the proper thing would be to stick it out and see what this lawsuit is about. I would wait to drop him if he loses the lawsuit, right? Or some even bigger and more salacious things drop about him, that is just illegal. That's what I'm looking at if I'm ESPN. But y'all, let me know what y'all think in the comments. Appreciate y'all for rocking with me. Like the video, subscribe, and we gone.